Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 8, text 15. Mam upetya punarjanma
Mama upetya punarjanma
dukkhalayam ashashvatam
dukkhalayam ashashvatam
napnuvanti mahatmana
napnuvanti mahatmana
samsiddhim paramam gatam.
samsiddhim paramam gata.
We'll read.
Translation. After attaining me, the great souls, who are yogis in devotion, never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Since this temporary material world is full of the miseries of birth, old age, death, disease, and death, naturally he who achieves the highest perfection and attains the supreme planet Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavana, does not wish to return. The supreme planet is described in Vedic literature as Avyakta and Akshara and Paramagati. In other words, that planet is beyond our material vision and it is inexplicable. But it is the highest goal, the destination for the Mahatmas, great souls. The Mahatmas receive transcendental messages from the realized devotees and thus gradually develop devotional service in Krishna consciousness and become so absorbed in transcendental service that they no longer desire elevation to any of the material planets, nor do they even want to be transferred to any spiritual planet. They only want Krishna and Krishna's association and nothing else. That is the highest perfection of life. This verse specifically mentions the personalist devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna. These devotees in Krishna consciousness achieve the highest perfection of life. In other words, they are the supreme souls.
So Krishna is saying the bhakti yogi. He's saying the yogis in devotion. So he's speaking about the devotee. Because he's been speaking, no? That you think of me at the time of death and you will attain my nature. And so now he's saying the pure devotees, they don't come back to this material world. Prabhupada is telling us that this world is full of miseries. It's temporary. This material world is temporary. The manifestation. The manifestation sometimes is manifest, sometimes it's not. So the miseries. Now we may say the miseries are it's too hot, it's too cold, or um, oh, there's so much traffic, there's so much pollution. But what are actually the miseries? The four miseries of material existence. Yeah, Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport.
Birth, old age, disease, and death.
Yeah, these are actually the miseries which we do not have solution for. We don't have solution for disease. We try to cure one disease, there's some other disease which we don't have cure for. And anyway, even if we may find some cure for a disease, we do not have a cure for death. Or no, neither do we have a cure for old age. Sure, we can look younger. There's so many different treatments we can do, but that does not stop us from getting old. We do get old, and then at one point we have to leave that body, and that is called death. So we do not have the um, solution for this because this is the way the material world is made. It's the laws of the material world. But one who goes to the spiritual sky, the Vaikuntha planets, he does not come back. And the highest planet in the spiritual sky, what's that planet?
Goloka Vrindavana.
Yeah, it's the highest planet of the spiritual world. Just like in our universe, the highest planet is Brahmalok. That's where Lord Brahma lives. In our universe, there's so many different planets, but the highest is Brahman. Similarly, in the spiritual sky, there's so many different planets, and the highest is Krishna Lok or Golok Vrindavan, where Lord Krishna lives. So this this Golok Vrindavan, we can't see it. We do not have the suitable eyes. We can't even see the germs in front of us that are floating in the air. Suitable lens is needed. So similarly, we do not have that spiritual eyes right now to see the this spiritual planet. But it is the highest goal. All the scriptures are telling us, the Vedas are telling us. The Vedas are our authorities, and they are telling us. And that is where the Mahatmas go. It's the destination of the Mahatmas. So we gradually, one hears from the pure devotee, one hears and engages in devotional service. And then one can become a pure devotee and one can go back home, back to Godhead. So we may desire um, to go to the higher planet, to the material planets, Swargalok. Many say, oh, Swargalok, there's higher enjoyment there. But the devotee, he does not even want to go to Swargalok. Why? Because he understands over there also there is birth, death, old age, and disease. That's also a temporary situation. But one who reaches the spiritual world does not come back to the material world again. One lives in his own spiritual body in the spiritual world. We do not have to keep taking different bodies. No, we are in our own spiritual body. So the pure devotees, they have devotion for Krishna, they have Krishna consciousness, they are called Mahatmas, great souls. Brahma Bhuvanaloka
Om Brahma Bhuvana Loka
Punar Avartinorjana
Punar Avartinor Arjuna
Mam Upaitya Tu Kaunteya
Mam Upetya Tu Kaunteya
Punarjanma Na Vidyate.
Punarjanma Navidyate. Translation. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. All kinds of yogis, karma, dhyana, hatha, etc., eventually have to attain devotional perfection in bhakti yoga or Krishna consciousness before they can go to Krishna's transcendental abode and never return. Those who attain the highest material planets and planets of the demigods are again subjected to repeated birth and death. As persons on earth are elevated to higher planets, people on higher planets such as Brahmaloka, Chandraloka, and Indraloka fall down to earth. The practice of sacrifice called Panchagni Vidya, recommended in the Chandogya Upanishad, enables one to achieve Brahmaloka. But if on Brahmaloka one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, then he must return to earth. Those who progress in Krishna consciousness on the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets, and at the time of universal devastation are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. Baladeva Vidya Bhusana, in his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, quotes this verse: Brahmana sahete sarve samprapte prati sanchare parasyante kritamana pravishanti param padam. When there is devastation of this material universe, Brahma and his devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness are all transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desires.
So Krishna is saying, "Ah Brahma Bhuvana Loka." You know, that what is that from Brahma Loka? That's the highest planet. We just said the highest planet in this material world. That's the Brahma Loka, where Lord Brahma resides. So all the planets, right from the hellish planets, the lowest planets are the hellish planets, up to the highest planets. You know, we always have desire, let me go to the higher planets. Let me go to Swarglok or Janalok or Tapalok, Maharlok, or even Brahmalok. But Krishna is saying, even if you go there, there is misery over there. It's not that they are free of misery. There is birth and death also over there. And then Krishna is again saying it that one who comes to my planet does not take birth again. So many times Krishna is repeating. It's not that we repeat because, we forget, we've said it. No, but Krishna is emphasizing because we are so much infatuated with this material world that we are not able to understand, hey, this is not my permanent home. You know, it's like how in the address we have current address and a permanent address. Our permanent address is in the spiritual world. So Krishna, that's why he's reminding us by Bhagavad Gita. So, so that people may be following different paths. People may be following the path of karma, jnana, hatha yoga, or ashtanga yoga. But to get success in that process, one needs to come to bhakti yoga. One needs to surrender to Krishna to be able to get success in their particular path, whatever path they are getting or following. Because after all, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Mm. And um, one has this devotion for Krishna, then they can go to Golok Vrindavan. They never come back to the material world. Even if one goes to the planet of the demigods, say Indralok, Chandralok, uh, Suryalok, Brahmalok, again one has to be taking birth. Again one will die. One cannot live permanently on the higher planets. We see how like there's so many times the fight between the demigods and the demons, and the demigods are also in fear. Or the demons will come and they will take away my kingdom. We see powerful demons like Hiranyakashipu. He was occupying the heavens. The demigods, they had to flee from their houses. They had to give up their homes because they were so scared. And Hiranyakashipu, Ravan, all these great demons, they fight with the demigods and then they take over the property of the demigods. So even being on the higher planets is not a safe position. There is misery there too. And even if one reaches up to Brahmaloka, which is the highest planet one can go to in this material world, but if one does not become Krishna conscious, then even in spite of reaching the Brahmaloka, one again will come back to the lower planets, will come back to earth again to create new karma. So even living in Brahmaloka is not a permanent situation. It's like a Ferris wheel. Sometimes the Ferris wheel goes up, sometimes comes down, sometimes goes up, sometimes comes down. We think, oh, going to the heavenly planets means it's going to be such a great situation. I can enjoy more. I can have more food. I can have more beauty. I can have more opulences. But that is still going to be temporary. And soon we will find ourselves again on the earth, after the results are finished. we will again find ourselves on the earth. So Krishna is saying, come back to the spiritual world. Get out of this cycle of birth and death, going up and down in the different planets. So, or there may be a living entity. He is going to the higher planets, gradually going higher and higher in the material world, but he's progressing in Krishna consciousness. And when this material world, there is the dissolution of the material world. The material world gets devastated. Then at that time, when one is in Brahmalok, and if he has cultivated his Krishna consciousness, he's become a devotee, then at that time he can go to the spiritual world. But then that is gradual elevation, going from one planet to another, one planet to another. So it will take longer. It takes longer, like how we take a direct plane to somewhere, or we go transit via. We have, say, 10 stops, or we just have a direct flight. It's different, no? Direct flight, we reach our destination in the least time that is required, the least energy that's required. But if there are so many different stops, it takes more time, more energy. Similarly, we can explain it in this way. So, Baladev Vidyabhushan Prabhupada is quoting his commentary that if Brahma is a pure devotee, huh? Then when this material world is devastated, then Brahma and the people and the the people living on Brahmalok, then they are going to the spiritual planets. Then they go to the spiritual world. But if Brahma is not a devotee, then they're all coming back to the lower planets within the material world. So we can see that even reaching up to Brahmalok, it's first of all, it's very difficult to reach. Then one may, after with great endeavor, reach there. But if one does not cultivate Krishna consciousness, one still comes back to the lower planets. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam
Sahasra Yoga Paryantam
Aharyat Brahmano Vidu
Aharyat Brahmano Vidu
Ratrim Yuga Sahasranta
Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam
Deho Ratra Vidochana.
Devu Ratra Vidojana.
I'm sorry.
Translation. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is duration of his night. The duration of the material universe is limited. It is manifested in cycles of kalpas. A kalpa is a day of Brahma, and one day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas or ages: Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. The cycle of Satya is characterized by virtue, wisdom, and religion, there being practically no ignorance and vice, and the yoga lasts 1,07,000, no, 17,28,000 years. In the Treta Yuga, vice is introduced, and this yoga lasts 12,96,000 years. In the Dwapara Yuga, there is an even greater decline in virtue and religion, vice increasing, and this yoga lasts 8,64,000 years. And finally, in Kali Yuga, the yuga we have now been experiencing over the past 5,000 years, there is an abundance of strife, ignorance, irreligion, and vice, true virtue being practically non existent. And this yoga lasts 4,32,000 years. In Kali Yuga, vice increases to such a point that at the termination of the Yuga, the Supreme Lord himself appears as the Kalki Avtara, vanquishes the demons, saves the devotees, and commences another Satya Yuga. Then the process is set rolling again. These four yugas rotating 1,000 times comprise one day of Brahma, and the same number comprise one night. Brahma lived 100 of such years and then dies. These 100 years by earth calculations total to 311 trillion and 40 billion earth years. By these calculations, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable. But from the viewpoint of eternity, it is as brief as a lightning flash. In the casual ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in the Atlantic. Brahma and his creation are all part of the material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. In the material universe, not even Brahma is free from the process of birth, old age, disease, and death. Brahma, however, is directly engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord in the management of of this universe. Therefore, he at once attains liberation. Elevated sannyasis are promoted to Brahma's particular planet, Brahmaloka, which is the highest planet in the material universe and which survives all the heavenly planets in the upper strata of the planetary system. But in due course, Brahma and all the inhabitants of Brahmaloka are subject to their death according to the law of material nature.
So Krishna is saying about Brahma's day and Brahma's night. So we may think, oh wow, 1,000 ages taken together, Brahma lives for such a long time. We are all trying to live longer and longer here in our current body. And if I become Brahma, I'm gonna live for, I said, 311 trillion years, right? 311 trillion and 40 billion Earth years. How is the calculation? That kalpa. What's a kalpa? One kalpa. Yeah. Prabhupada explains to us. What is a kalpa? It's one day. One day of Brahma is called a kalpa. And in this one day, there are thousands of cycles of the Chatur Yuga. We have Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. This is called Chatur Yuga. When we take all four of them together, it's called a Chatur Yuga. But now, 1,000 of these 1,000 of these cycles. So there will be 1,000 Satyug, 1,000 Treta Yuga, 1,000 Dwapar Yuga, 1,000 Kali Yuga in one day of Brahma, which is only 12 hours. And similarly, as long as is the night of Brahma. So Satya Yuga, everyone mostly everyone is following the religious principles. There is no sinful activity mostly. Practically everyone is full of righteousness. Everyone is following the Vedic scriptures. And this age, it lasts for 1,728,000 years or 17,28,000. It's the same. Then there is Treta Yuga. Treta Yuga, there's certain people who become sinful. Like in Satyug, it's practically there's no sinful activity. With Treta, there is some sort of sinful activity is there. It's for 1 million to what's that? 1,296,000 years. And Dwapara Yuga, there is more irreligion. Dwapara Yuga is 864,000. And then finally we come to Kali Yuga, which is the Yuga we are currently in. This is for 432,000 years, out of which 5,000 years have already passed. And Kali Yuga is mostly irreligion and ignorance, where it's true virtue is practically non-existent. There's barely anyone who actually is able to follow all the religious principles. We are full of ignorance, we are full of passion and ignorance in this age of Kali. Then what happens gradually, as this age will progress, irreligion will increase more and more. Sinful activity will increase more and more. Ignorance will increase more and more. Then what happens is, at that time, there is no talking. Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago because he knew that to some degree we will be able to understand this message that, hey, what are you doing? Come back home. You're not the body, you're the soul. Come back home. 5,000 years ago, he gave us the Bhagavad Gita. But as Kali Yuga progresses towards the end of Kali Yuga, there's no speaking because at that time, uh, the people will not have the capability to understand any religious message. So Kalki is gonna come. Whoever is there is just gonna vanquish everyone. There'll be few devotees here and there who would be living. And then starts another Satyug. Like this, 1,000 times this happens in one day of Brahma. And then in the night of Brahma is sleeping at night, and such a long time passes again. In the night of Brahma, the lower planets, there is no manifestation. The lower planets up to Swarglok, they are all underwater. Everyone is sleeping. The higher planets, yes, there is activity, but it is the night of Brahma. So Brahma is sleeping at that time. So, you know, now we can see like this 1,000 cycles in 12 hours, one another 1,000 cycles in another 12 hours, like this. Brahma is living for a fantastic long time according to our human years. According to our human years, we barely survive even 100 years in this Kali Yuga. Brahma is living for 311 trillion and 40 billion Earth years. So one may say, oh, this is amazing. I can live for such a long time and I can enjoy so much. I'll be able to enjoy. But if Prabhupada is helping us understand, time is eternal. The soul is eternal. If we are looking at it from a viewpoint of eternality, it's just going to pass away so soon. We won't even realize it. Time being eternal, soul being eternal, the time passes. Sometimes we say, oh, I don't even remember how this time has gone by. It seems like a flash. It just seems just like yesterday. And it may be 20, 30, 50 years ago, something. So even living up to 311 trillion and 40 billion years, Brahma thinks, oh, wow, the time passed so fast. So, and it's not, oh, there's only one Brahma. Every planet, every universe has their own Brahma. And like this, they're unlimited universes. As there are bubbles in the ocean, they're like this, there are these universes floating in the causal ocean. And when Brahma dies, at the end of Brahma's life, the whole universe is collapsed. There's devastation. Everyone enters into the body of Mahavishnu. Everyone's sleeping again. Till the time again the manifestation happens. So this cycle is going on. Mahavishnu breathes in, all the manifestation, all the universes go again in his body. Everyone's sleeping. Mahavishnu breathes out, again the creation happens. Everybody gets busy working. And like this, breathing in and out is like waking up from sleep and then working and then sleeping again. So here we can see Brahma, he also dies. There's also old age, disease, and birth, even if we reach up to the highest planet. So, of course, we have to understand that Brahmaji, he's doing a great service for the Lord. This is Brahma's service to Krishna, to be the secondary creator, to manage the universe. Whenever there is any problem in the universe, the demigods all go to Brahma. Brahmaji makes sure all the demigods are doing their duties properly. And if Brahma, he is a pure devotee, then when he dies, then he goes to the spiritual world. But if he's not, he also continues, comes back to the lower planets. Then because Brahma is a post, it's not a person. So like one may be a president of the country for certain number of years, no? But after that term finishes, then one is no more the president. One does not have those powers anymore. So and see that even if one reaches up to Brahma Lok, even if one becomes Lord Brahma, still one is subjected to birth, death, old age, and disease. But one who goes to the spiritual world, who goes to Vaikuntha Loka, one who goes to Krishna Lok, Golok Vrindavan, or any other Vaikuntha planet, there is no birth, death, old age, and disease there. One does not need to come back to the material world from there. Is that okay? Did anyone want to add or comment anything?
No.
Avyaktat vyaktaya sarva
Avyaktas Vyaktaya Sarva
prabhavanti ahar agame
Har Agame
ratri agame praliyante
Ratri Agame Praliyante
tatre vavyakta samyake.
Tatre Vakyakta Samyanake. Translation. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again.
So Brahma's day, the lower planetary systems. So Brahma, when he wakes up in the morning, he again has to do the work of creation because when his night happens, when he's sleeping, the lower planetary systems up to Swargalok, they're all in the water. Everyone goes back into the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. The higher planetary systems, they are sleeping. They exist. But the lower planetary systems, they are dissolved. Then at night when he's sleeping. Then when he wakes up in the morning, again he does the creation. Again, the living entities are put in different bodies and the activity starts. But as we said, the higher planetary systems, so means like Maharlok, Janalok, Tapalok, they are existing, but of course there's no activity there. It's the day and night, so it's just continuing. Bhuta grama sa evayam,
Bhutagrama Sa Evayam
bhutva bhutva praliyate,
Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate
ratri agame vashapartha,
Ratri Agame Vashapartha
prabhavati ahar agame.
Prabhavati Ahar Agame. Translation. Again and again, when Brahma's day arrived, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. The less intelligent, who try to remain within this material world, may be elevated to higher planets, and then again must come down to the planet Earth. During the daytime of Brahma, they can exhibit their activities on higher and lower planets within this material world. But at the coming of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. In the day, they receive various bodies for material activities, and at night, they no longer have bodies but remain compact in the body of Vishnu. Then again, they are manifest at the arrival of Brahma's day. Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate. During the day, they become manifest, and at night, they are annihilated again. Ultimately, when Brahma's life is finished, they are all annihilated and remain unmanifest for millions and millions of years. And when Brahma is born again in another millennium, they are again manifest. In this way, they are captivated by the spell of the material world. But those intelligent persons who take to Krishna consciousness use the human life fully in the devotional service of the Lord, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thus, they transfer themselves even into this life to the spiritual planet of Krishna and become eternally blissful there, not being subject to such rebirths.
So Krishna is telling us again here that in the material world, till the time we are in the material world, there's constantly birth, death, old age, disease. Doesn't matter which planet we go to. There is a rule of the material world. So it's not that this rule is applicable only to the Earth planet or to the hellish planets, and that it is not applicable to the heavenly planets or Brahmalok. No, it's a rule of the material world, and so it's applicable to all the planets of the material. So even if one goes up to the planet of Brahma, one again has to take birth, dies, has old age, has disease, and then one will come back to the lower planet. One cannot be living in the higher planets permanently. In this material world, we are all wandering from one planet to another. There's no one particular planet or species of life that we are living in permanently based on our karma, based on our desires. We are just changing our body. So what's happening that um, during Brahma's day, there's activity, everyone has gotten different bodies, people are working. Then at Brahma's night, the lower planets is devastated. They're inundated with water, fire. All the living entities of the lower planets go inside the body of Brahma. Oh, I'm sorry, of Lord Vishnu. They're sleeping there. Then again, when Brahma wakes up, again he'll do the creation. Again, the living entities get different bodies. Again, there is activity. And like this, it happens every day, no? For 100 years, because Brahma has to sleep every night, wakes up every day. So he again does the creation every morning. And then at 100 years, when Brahma dies, the whole universe, all the planets, all the living entities are annihilated. Everyone goes inside the body of Mahavishnu, sleeping there for millions and millions of years, till again he breathes out and again the material creation becomes manifest. So, like this, it's been going on eternally. Then, what happens? This human form of life is given to us so that we can get out of this cycle, birth and death, sometimes being born as Lord Brahma, sometimes being born in the body of of a worm. You know, we have been in worm bodies also. We have been in Brahma body, also in worm body, insect body, dog body. We have been. But this human life we can use to get out of this constant changing of body. We can go to the spiritual world and live in our own spiritual body. Each of us have our own personal, we are all persons. Each of us have a spiritual body. And yeah, Prabhupada is saying that one who uses the human life fully in devotional service of the Lord, Devotional service begins by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then one does not need to wait to die. One, even while being in this body, can reach the spiritual planet, Golok Vrindavan, and be eternally happy. We are all looking for happiness. But here in the material world, we see that we have to work very hard to get some happiness. And then that happiness goes away. Again, we have to work very hard to become happy. We become happy, yes, of course. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Then again, but that happiness is temporary. Again, it goes away. But if we go to the spiritual world, in the Vaikuntha world, in Golok Vrindavan, the happiness is eternal, does not go away. Just being in the spiritual atmosphere makes us happy. We don't have to endeavor to become happy. We don't have to do anything to be happy. Just being there makes one happy. So this human form of life is given to us to make a solution to this birth, death, old age, and disease. And in this age of Kali, we are specifically instructed to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. To chant and to go back home, back to Godhead, to revive our Krishna consciousness, our original consciousness. Because we are not the body, we are the soul. We are spirit soul, so we need to go back to the spiritual world. The chanting the Hare Krishna mantra can take us back. We need to hear from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Yeah. Is that okay? Parastasmatu bhavonyo
Parastasmatu bhavonyo
vyakto vyaktat sanatana
vyakto vyaktat sanatana
yasa sarveshu bhuteshu
yasa sarveshu bhuteshu
nashyatsu na vinashyati.
nashyatsu na vinyasyate. Translation. Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental. No, yet there is another which is outside and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Krishna's superior spiritual energy is transcendental and eternal. It is beyond all the changes of material nature, which is manifest and annihilated during the days and nights of Brahma. Krishna's superior energy is completely opposite in quality to material nature. Superior and inferior nature are explained in the seventh chapter.
So this material world we just heard is sometimes manifest, sometimes not manifest. There sometimes the creation is there, sometimes there is devastation. There's no creation, everyone is like, we don't have bodies, material bodies then. We are just lying in our subtle body, inside the body of Mahavishnu. Everyone is sleeping. Just as we wake up in the day, we do work, then again at night, we sleep. When we sleep, we forget everything. The difference is at night, we still have the same body that we are in. But at death, we change our body. And then when there's unmanifestation, we have no more this gross body and we are sleeping in Mahavishnu's body for millions and millions of years. So Krishna say instead of, doing this like a nomad walking, wandering around, he's telling us that there is a spiritual world over there that's eternal. The spiritual world, the planets exist eternally. There's no death over there. And even when this material world is annihilated, is dissolved, is destroyed, the spiritual world is not destroyed. It's eternally existent. And that is under Krishna's spiritual energy, transcendental. It's eternal. It's in this material world that there are changes. But spiritual? No. Spiritual means eternal. So Krishna's this material nature, sometimes we see the creation, sometimes there is destruction, creation, destruction. But Krishna's spiritual energy, which is superior, it's eternal, is blissful, is transcendental. They are opposite. The material and spiritual energy are opposite. So we want to live eternally, never have disease, never have birth, never have death, because something that's birth have to have death. Manufacture date will have expiry date. But we have to understand we are spirit souls, we are eternal. It's not that we are born at a particular time, we exist eternally. And the spiritual world exists eternally. So we have to understand that we are in a wrong place right now. We have to be in the spiritual atmosphere. Let's stop here for today. That's okay. Did anyone want to add anything or comment anything? No. Then let's stop here for today. Thank you so much for listening and enjoying. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.